you need to fix these settings. I made a settings video at the start of the game, and now that I've played the game a lot, a few of those settings have changed, and many of you are asking what am I using. Guys, the preset is always set to competitive, of course, short assistance, assisted, or precision. Now, if you're a casual player, stick to assisted. Otherwise, if you are a more serious player, you will have to use precision, as that is what is allowed now in the compete mode. I will say one thing, guys. Precision shooting, once you learn it, is more rewarding. I used to always be a fan of assisted, but now that I am using precision, I do agree that even if you don't have, let's say, a Kylian Mbappe, your Werner will have really good finishing on precision as compared to assisted. The ball just travels at a higher speed, but it is a very steep learning curve. Timed finishing is always going to be on. If you don't know how to time finish, please learn it. I insist. Through pass assistance, manual or semi, of course, semi, lob pass, semi, ground pass assistance. Now, this is what has changed. I was using assisted, but I feel this year semi is better than assisted, especially with the passing revamp. If you are feeling that your passes aren't really connecting, use semi. Many of the top players this year are using semi. Want you to go and try semi and then tell me down in comments how was it. Semi pass assistance gives more respect to where you are aiming, kind of similar to precision, but precision is more manual as compared to semi. There is still more assistance in semi passing as compared to precision shooting. All right, guys. But one thing, if you have controller drift, stick with assisted. If you have controller drift and you are using semi, then that is going to be a very bad combination. Okay, so use semi only if you have a good controller. Cross assistance, assisted, or semi. Now I was using assisted, but I am going to semi because this year there is a double tap cross which has always been in the game, but this year it is really good, and you need to be on semi in order to perform that double cross. So you just press the square button twice and your player will do a ground cross, and that ground cross is best performed with semi. So therefore we are going to use semi. Low pass assistance, assisted, or semi. I am going to use it as assisted because of the long ball pass plus playstyle. L1 triangle passes are really overpowered in this game, but you need to use a player with the long ball pass plus playstyle. All of these settings are related to what we do in game. Pass receiver, lock late, or animation start. Use animation start if you have really bad gameplay. Otherwise, late is the best. Precision pass sensitivity. The R1 triangle and the R1 square, RBY, RBX passes are the precision passes, and they are really good this year. I'm even gonna make a video on them. You want to be using them, but use normal sensitivity because with high there is a more risk of messing up your pass. All right. Clearance assistance is going to be directional. Defending. Again, so many people ask me, King Sunny, what are you using? I am using advanced defending. Okay. Doesn't matter what a pro player is using. Why? Because most of them still are using advanced defending. Second, it comes down to personal preference. All right. And we have to weigh pros and cons. On advanced defending, you can perform a shoulder barge. You can use players like VVD, Rudiger, and those tall guys to push players off of the ball. And I use that mechanic so much when I am defending. It is game changing for me. Okay, I need a little bit less AI assistance. I don't care. I need more control over my players, and advanced defending gives me that. I want to be able to choose when I want to push a player off the ball. All right. I cannot spam L2 for that. I want to use an actual command. Pass block assistance, on or off. We are going to use it on. Of course, we want as much assistance in this as we can. Auto switching on air balls and loose balls is the best. Some people use on air balls only, but I still believe on air balls and loose balls is the better thing for you. Never use high auto switching move assistance. If you're using high, it is gonna mess up your defender's movement when you first switch to them. So make sure you're using none or low. None is the best, but I am used to of low, so I just stick to that. Right stick switching, classic, adaptive, or player rotation. Classic is the best. The other two are useless options. Player relative or ball relative. Now, this is an important one. If you are someone who is using ball relative, there is only so far you can go. All the top low players in the world use player relative. Yes, I am saying it comes down to preference, but some things you have to ignore your preference on, okay? And this is one of those things. Player relative gives you more control over your switching. Therefore, it is the best. Right stick switching sensitivity, I use 3, but for most players, I would recommend 4. However, if you struggle to right stick switch and your switches are going off, then 3 is good. For me, I use 3 because that is what feels the most natural to me. Next, player switching, classic or closest to ball. Now closest to ball is the best for R1 RB second man press, as the second man press is really consistent when you put this setting to closest to ball. But overall for L1 switching, classic is the better one. However, I use closest to ball as most of the times I am switching with the right stick. I want more control over my second man press. I want it to be as consistent as it is. So therefore, closest to ball is the best setting for that. Again, this is something EA added for the sake of adding. Don't use it, turn it off. And I don't think it magically reduces delay, but just turn it off, okay? Player lock is going to be on. You know how much player lock I use, and this is something you have to use and abuse if you want to be good at this game. Analog sprint is going to be off. If you turn on analog sprint, you can control the speed of your jockey. But you know what you cannot do with analog sprint? You cannot perform a speed boost. So we are not going to keep it on. Of course, we have to use the speed boost. This is the most common question that I get asked in my comments. What is my camera setting? My camera setting is telebroadcast. I use custom camera settings. The height is 14 and zoom is 2. Everything else is default. However, I do feel that sometimes it is just too zoomed in, but that is what I use because I am good in dribbling. That is what I prefer. If you're someone who struggles and if you rush your passes and you are not good at using the radar, do not use my camera settings because you will lose the ball a lot and you will be tunnel vision, okay? For that very reason, I suggest co-op or telebroadcast 20 height, 0 zoom. You can try out my settings, but if they don't work, you can switch to one of these cameras. Now I found a very overpowered dribbling trick. Check this video out here.